We have a lot to say about that. But Ursula, we have a guest.
We do. And as we told you in the 9 o'clock hour, we've learned about some disturbing threats to kill minorities in the Marysville School District. Threats that included showing a weapon that belongs to a Marysville police officer. And the NAACP is now calling for consequences. And joining us on the G and Ursula show is Dr. Janice Greene. She is the president of the NAACP of Snohomish County. Good morning, Dr. Greene.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. So just for people who are tuning in right now, tell us what happened in these December and January incidents.
Okay, so thank you for having me. And in December, during a Zoom meeting, a class meeting, it was an online class, a couple of the students decided that they would talk about killing black people. And they said, let's kill black people. And they named off some names and say, yes, this one, no, not this one. And it was reported. And the student was suspended for a short period of time. And I don't think he was suspended immediately. So there was no real action taken, at least from my perspective. There was not real action taken. There was a internal threat assessment done by the Marysville School District, but we consider it any threat, especially in these days and times, that's something that you have to take very seriously. There was not much done with that, and then follow on, it escalated, because I think when you don't have consequences, and people don't have to take responsibility, that leads to escalation. So it escalated, and the same young man, one of the young men that participated, there was a Snapchat image from that student's personal account, and in that personal account, there was a hand on a gun, and it said, "Killing minorities soon." Again, we're still waiting for more severe action, or actually some accountability from the school district and from local police. It is under investigation by the sheriff because, as you said, one of the hand on the gun in the student's Snapchat is a police officer's relative. So that was reported in the Herald, that it was a police officer's relative. So in order not to have a conflict of interest, the sheriff is investigating instead of the Marysville police.
Dr. Greene,
in the meantime, yes.
Can I just ask, just to clarify, too, so these threats came, was it Marysville High School? What school was involved, and who all saw these threats?
Marysville Pilchuck, all the students that were online. Mm-hmm. It's an online class. So they saw that. And I believe my understanding is the educator was out of the room but came back and also reported it.
Dr. Greene, what is it that you are calling for? What are you calling for right now specifically with this?
We are calling that this Marysville School District and all school districts have a strategy and a plan to protect students of color now and in the future, that there are consequences for these type of threats and this type of behavior. We're also looking for the police department and the Snohomish County prosecutor to always pursue these types of issues as hate crimes, and that they hold the perpetrators responsible to the full extent of the law. We're looking for school districts in Snohomish County to institute a third-party complaint reporting and investigation system in response to hate crimes. And the reason we're asking about this is the students that report are saying that they are intimidated if they report. We're also looking for all school districts in Snohomish County and probably beyond to institute a zero-tolerance policy for hate crimes and any retaliation against reporters of hate crimes. So that's what we're looking for in the immediate. We're also looking for some real action. We continue to have these talking forums where people come out and say what their experiences are. And for me personally, it's getting to the point where we're asking our young people, our children, to come out and relive their trauma in front of people without the necessary action being taken so they don't have to deal with that trauma in the future.
7 years ago, in October of 2014, it was Marysville Pilchuck High School where tragically that a shooting occurred when a 15-year-old freshman shot 5 other students during that time. And that's a concern considering it's in that same areas in around the same school. How about the alleged victims, the victims' parents? Are they concerned considering the history that has happened around the school?
They are absolutely concerned, and as are most of the parents in the school district. You know, the parents of color, the BIPOC community, they're all very concerned. So yes, and especially since school is getting ready to go back in person, so it's going to be really difficult for people to send their kids back into school.
Dr. Greene, there is a lot of debate right now about charging as a hate crime. Why is it so important for these particular crimes to be charged as hate crimes?
I think it puts it at a level that people understand that by threatening people, threatening people's lives and livelihoods, their property, whatever, and it's based on race, and it's across the county, but right now the focus is on Marysville. But when you do that and you escalate it to a hate crime status, I think it gets more attention and makes people understand the difference between just maliciousness and hate.
Do you think that we are hearing of more incidents and that's why it seems like there are more of these things happening, or are these incidents happening more frequently, in your opinion, or from what you've seen?
I think that they are happening more frequently. I think that they've always been in play, but I do think they're happening more frequently. I think that, young people are coming forward, that they have their ways of getting the information out, and that would be via their videos, Snapchat, so they're bringing it to leadership. I'm not sure that even though they're bringing it forward, if they're being taken seriously and if they're being protected or the consequences are what they should be.
This is the voice of Dr. Greene. Dr. Greene is president of the NAACP of Snohomish County, and we really appreciate her for joining the Gene Urso Show. One of my last questions for you is this, Dr. Greene. I'm sure that there's concern, even with this conversation that we're having. This happened in December. It happened in January. And now we are coming upon, it will be April 1st on Thursday. Is there a reason for the delay in all of this being taken and handled? What's your opinion on that? What's the real reason behind this delay, considering the climate in which we're in, considering we are seeing results of mass shootings that are happening across our country, some that happened just recently as of the last week? We are at 102 mass shootings in the United States just this year alone in 2021. What is the reason for the delay?
That's a great question. I think, though, that the systems, the institutions, they figure out ways to protect each other. I think that we have to make this more visible. We have to get it out there. Then we have to push. We really have to push all of our law enforcement, our institutions, our educational systems to do what they are supposed to do. They're supposed to be protecting our children. They're supposed to be protecting and serving, and they're supposed to be doing the progression of activities to make sure that we have a safe environment. Actually, there's really no excuse in my mind. There's no excuse for an investigation to go on this long. There's no excuse for the young man to be suspended and then show up in get transferred to another school instead of being disciplined appropriately. So there's so many things that I think that we as a community and as a society need to address, and the protection that we give the perpetrators.
Dr. Greene, we appreciate your time. Dr. Greene is the president of the NAACP of Snohomish County. We will continue to track this story, and we will also continue to reach out to the Marysville School District to get information as to what is happening in these particular cases. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.